All right, we'll do it live.
Akira.
The Dawn.
He's got clout.
Hello, hello. Just in time. A little extra on our intro this morning as I was preparing some of my posts to go out. Butterflies. We're going to be working on poetic butterflies this morning, of all things. Which means I also need my colored ribbon, which I have misplaced. There it is. I'll be doing some ribbon. Good morning. Welcome to the Poetry Studio. My name is Joseph. I do typewritten poetry live on Twitch, on the internet, on the World Wide Web for everybody. Feel free to check it out. If you're new here, we have some brand new updates for channel points. And I did bring water in case you asked me to hydrate today. And just having a good time creating live on Twitch for everybody. After we work on some of the butterfly poetry, I might even be doing a rewrite of an old poem that keeps making its recurring appearance here, called I Stopped Watching the News. I have been workshopping it with my mentor for a very long time, chipping away at it, and we finally have reached a point where really it just needs one more rewrite, and it'll be ready. So it'll be pretty cool to be doing a lot of that. So let us work on that. I'm going to get some paper in this typewriter and get it together. And good to see you, Fool Killer, again. The stream. I hope that your poetry reading has been going well. As everybody can see now, I am changing the ribbon in this typewriter. I have to do something about this camera angle. I can't get it any wider. I might have to set up a tripod behind my desk to be able to get a better angle on things. Also thought about generally trying to tilt out this desk a little more to give me more room. We will see. Colored ribbon, ready to make its reappearance. You've reached a new poet to read. What's the name of the poet that you're reading now? This is the way that it inks up my hands. Uh-oh. I am definitely affecting my butterflies by... Let's show you guys what I'm working on. Robert Burns. Well, I've never heard of Robert Burns. I hope that his stuff's good. I have a long list of poets that I still need to check out. I stopped checking out poets because I stopped doing the readings on here until I get enough subscribers to make the prep time worth it. That's at least a hope. All right, there we go. Now I should be able to tuck this ribbon in. There we go. Ribbon is secured in the typewriter. All right. Let's work on these flutterbys. See, that's peculiar. Like, maybe it's because the way that I'm just looking at the fact that the camera has everything set up on a 4:3 ratio, which doesn't make sense to me. It shouldn't be set up on that ratio. It should be set up on a widescreen. Because you can see my hat now. You can't see my hat now. I mean, one option here, excuse me, while I edit my stream, working on it, is to do something closer to this, and then create some sort of sidebar. I'm comfortable for now with the black bars on the side, as I continue to artistically develop the channel, though I can't spend much more time this week doing that, because I spent so much time this week doing that. There we go. That's a little better. Now I don't feel like that you can't see my hat. The hat is important. After all, it has its own emotion. So, these have been free verse, non-rhyming, up to 3-syllable lines, 4-line stanzas. Trying to kind of get that, like, red purple. Good morning, Twitcho Alex. So good to see you. We're doing typewritten poetry, butterflies. There we go. Perfect. All right. Now the final butterfly. So I've done blue, purple, magenta. Trying to think what would be a good color for this one. I would pick teal, but I've already done teal. I mean, a straight orange is probably going to be the best. This is a close to orange, this other one. But I want this to be more yellow-orange, like this right here. Good morning, Wind City Chess. We have upgraded the channel a little bit. Is the Casino of Poetry open for business? Indeed, if you need to drop some clacks, that's fine. How do you set up gambling? Because I would love to set up gambling on here so people could gamble their channel points. I know that you said that you're going to be doing that eventually on the other channel. Prediction. Is starter predict? Oh, what? That's so funny. It literally, I went to go put in a command and it showed me new starter prediction. Let's see. We're trying something out here. Let's see. I'm trying to think about how to do it. So I did a very small one because I haven't actually decided yet, and I don't know. And it'll be, how will this butterfly poem go? So thematically, it would either go kind of more towards uplifting sky or more towards the ground, like something very earthy. The color of the poem that I'm typing it on is orange, so it could either be the kind of like earthy. Orange is kind of very close to red, which is rust and clay and in the burnt ground. But fire, orange could also be fire rising. Holy crap! He just dumped all of his points into the prediction. You didn't need to dump all of them. We added a whole new slew of rewards that are fun and interactive with the channel points. Pool Killer is right. Twitch hero Alex might be showing signs of a gambling addiction. Yeah, submissions closed. Predictions started. Go. Now, how do I? So then what do I do? So now I. Now, you're probably right, Twitcher Alex. I'm not as much of a ground person anyway, but let's see. I'm gonna forget the fact that somebody gambled their entire life savings on this, and I'm going to try to just write this poem without any bias. All right, so prediction. Oh, okay, got it. Oh, so if I don't choose a winner, the points get refunded. That's funny. So are we going to be doing predictions on the morning stream this morning for Akira the Dawn? Because if that's the case, then forget all the work I was planning on doing and getting done this morning. I'm just going to be hiding around in the chat. For those that might be checking in, Akira the Don is is a Wavelord DJ on Twitch. Oh, this is going to be insane. This will be absolutely insane. Nope. Hang on a second. So, in all genuineness, Twitcher Alex has won, and it's not because I merely am scared of him losing all of his channel points after I set up wonderful rewards in our channel, but also "Sun Kissed Dust" was a line that I came up with. And so I ended up, I realized that this is definitely getting more towards the sky. And it wasn't necessarily sky that started it, but it was the sun-kissed dust. But what's interesting is dust is also a very groundy metaphor. So if we look at the poem the way it looks right now, wings of flame, sun-kissed dust. I need to add some commas in here to have the poem make sense. There we go. Final poem. It's hard to see because of the colored ink. But wings of flame, sun-kissed dust, rise, inspire, bring us light. So indeed, that is a very sky metaphor. So I would say that Twitcher Alex's bet is good. Now, I don't know how much he's going to actually win because he was the only person to actually bet it. So if I go to the prediction menu, choose an outcome, complete prediction. So I think you just got your channel points back. Is that kind of how it worked because you were the only person that gambled? At least I think you were the only person that gambled, right? Yeah, you were the only person that gambled. There you go. Okay, so that's what it is. So basically all the channel points go into a pool, the banker takes none, and then basically we're going to be stealing from each other all the time. So there's still a net hold on those points, which is exciting, which is cool. And part of what I've done here is I've done and it's good to know you have 16.2k channel points. Because that's a good metric for how many other people might have in this channel. Because I'm continuing to add new and improved rewards, including the haiku commission. You could swap out the typewriter, poem requests, doggo cam, a whole bunch of stuff. And doggo cam is back. So, and it has a neat little icon too. So this morning, for people that might be tuning in that aren't privy to what's all the craziness in the chat, I did some poetic butterflies in color. So now the next step is going to be getting these a little more colorized and somehow taking the paper and supplanting it onto these wooden ornaments. I'm not sure how that's going to go. I might cut the whole paper out and paste it on. I might not. And each has two sides, so it's going to be cute. And then they're also colored a certain color. So, Fool Killer says, I didn't get to bet because Twitch Mobile is confusing. Well, I would advise you not to bet your entire life savings on anything. Whether it is channel points or real money. Just a lesson learned. And I feel inspired to write some poetry about this new predictions feature. Not necessarily about the feature in Twitch, but about the bets. What's interesting is a lot of what I'm doing is inspired very heavily by the Akira the Don song, Take a Path That's Dangerous, which is Joe Rogan talking about how you don't get to your dream by taking an easy road, and usually you got to do something that requires a lot of risk. And so I have been primarily working my business and not my other jobs. Fool Killer says, I know, I'm not gambling addict, Alex. So I've been working my jobs, and and I left some of those jobs, and so taking a path that's dangerous at the song, as well as the meaning behind it, which is that if you want to get to somewhere amazing, you should take a big risk. That all means a lot to me, and so that's kind of maybe going to be the theme of this poem that I'm going to write as we change ribbon. Ink cans. I should probably add colored ribbon as a reward for channel points. That is a very cool idea. And this ribbon is black and blue, but most ribbon is actually black and red. My usual default ribbon is black and red. And so that does work. That would actually be able to be done on a final of this poem. This might actually become a good poem. So one of the things that I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be spending some time creating some poems that'll be good, what I'm going to call art fair poems. I had an amazing realization. I was at an art fair like last weekend actually, and I had written a poem about the Lady and the Tramp, which was actually, and I had actually workshopped it on the stream a little bit a while back, old time. And it was a complicated poem. Well, it wasn't too complicated, but it was a poem about seeing the movie during the pandemic when Disney Plus came out and understanding the complications of COVID through a dog's eyes. So it's not a very simple theme. And this little girl came up to the table. She actually looked like somebody that was like out of a Christmas card. I frankly questioned whether she was actually real or not. She goes, "I'd like to buy that poem." And I'm like, "Oh, well, that's great." And this is a prepared poem, not a done on the spot poem. And she looks at it and she's like, I love the movie, da da da. And I realized she probably didn't understand the meaning of the poem. Maybe she did. And maybe I'm totally underestimating the capacity of the child's intellect, but likely she saw the title and said, "Ooh, Lady and the Tramp, my dad would like that as a present." He's a big Disney guy. So while I love complicated themes in my poems, writing some pretty straightforward, cool, fun, sometimes culturally relevant poems for sale at an art fair might be something that just works to my advantage, because then it'll be like the little girl coming up to me and being like, "Oh, well, I saw the title of that poem and it was cool looking, and I assume that the poem's kind of about that." And the poems can, that poem was very straightforward, but the poems can be thematically layered. So it could be a poem that, if I were to write it, could be a poem just about Snow White. Let's use another Disney movie, Snow White, but it's actually about, the question of innocence and humanity. But you don't get that from necessarily, you can look at it both ways. This poem was very objectively about the pandemic, and used the Lady and the Tramp as an image throughout. It's almost kind of reversed, as opposed to having it be about Lady and the Tramp. And then I think that kind of makes sense. Let's talk more right. A poetic iceberg of themes. I like that. Because that's a very interesting metaphor. I'm thinking about the Titanic, and it's like how if you run if that ship, that basically, it could be, the iceberg could consume the poem, and the poem could suddenly be consumed by the theme, and then it doesn't become about the thing. It doesn't have a double meaning, or it can kind of sail on the surface and have a deeper level at the same time. And that's what you probably mean by poetic iceberg of themes. I suddenly just jumped into Titanic for another reason. Yeah, poems, iceberg, that's a fantastic image for a poem. Like, as in, like, what is a poem like? A poem is like an iceberg. You read it on the surface level, you enjoy the way the words filter through and everything like that, but there's always something underneath, and then when you get underneath, you get even more underneath. Dangerous. There is no life reset counter. If you bet at all on the latest binary choice, confounding the mind, it sits in front of you. Everything earned either spurned or returned 100-fold. Take a guess, take a chance, take a plunge over the edge and feel the thrill in the fall. Maybe you will land. Maybe you will stand on an Olympic gold podium with your winnings. Why do we always think of money when the wealth of life, experience, passion, and dreams are sitting on the table, ready at the roll of a dice? Dangerous. Inspired by Twitch hero Alex's gambling addiction. Channel Point's gambling addiction, of course. Let's do the rewrite of no news. Wrap up the stream, and then unless Akira happens to be on early today, I will be raiding probably Disco. Disco's got a cool set going. Where is my paper? Oh, I need to get more paper, this is a fantastic time to be able to show you guys my new pause screen, which shows me typing. We'll be right back.
Yeah, it's a mobile stabilizer, so it does make it smooth. And we had a communication director. Hey Sarah, hey, do you want to try my stabilizer? Yeah, it's a mobile stabilizer.
Paper. Right here. So the way that it was kind of described to me, by my mentor, this poem has all the right structuring, all the right wording, all the right setup, but it doesn't have the teeth that the original emotional version had. So my job here is to rewrite it, not necessarily using the exact same words, but keeping the frame and then putting in more emotion to it. But before that, Fool Killer asks, as a creative person, what's a good time frame for a deadline to complete a project that's not impossible to meet, but not too long that you procrastinate? You can suggest one for reference. So, one thing that I have started trying to do more, and I don't do it successfully, is I'll tell myself a deadline and I'll tell the client a different deadline. A later deadline. Because I know I'm probably going to meet the client's deadline, but I'm going to aim for my deadline, probably miss it, but then I still meet the client's deadline because I was aiming for point A. And it also depends on the project. You know, certain projects are just too huge. And I always communicate with the client if things starting to run a little later. And a lot of times, I've also done the opposite, where I set a deadline that's really, really good for the client, that's way ahead of the game, and then I don't meet that, but I meet it 2 or 3 days afterwards, and the clients are like, all right, you know, like he said he was going to be able to do this in a day, and he got it done in 3 days. Well, that's still great, you know, as opposed to saying I'm going to get it done in 2 weeks, and then they get it done in 2.5 weeks. And I mean, part of the ritual of coming on here means that I have to fill this space. Like, it's one of the things that I discovered when I was actually working as a volunteer coordinator at one of my last jobs. And the thing about coordinating volunteers is you can spend all this time recruiting a volunteer, and then you get them in the door. And then if they ever have idle time, it's the worst thing in the world. Because a volunteer is giving their time freely. So you want to be prepared to give them projects because they want to do things that make them feel satisfied. They don't want to feel overworked, which some of my volunteers did. God forgive them, forgive me for having been crazy. But the point of it being is that if you set aside a certain time, you're going to at a certain point hit a line where you say, crap, I need to do something with this time. Like I finished what I thought I was going to do. So I think giving yourself the time, and another thing for me creatively, it all depends really on the project. Because the funny thing about it is if someone tells me alive in the situation or in person, write me this poem, I'll get it done in 10 minutes. Someone emails me for a commission, I get it done in a week. I can't explain that. Like it should be the same thing. It should be they email me for a commission, I get it back to them in an hour. Because I have to write it and then make sure it's good and then send it through. But for some reason, I just like taking my time with the commissions and putting them into a bit of a pool that goes slower. If you get more specific, I might be able to give you more specific advice. Let's see, I want to change out the song. Oh, this is exactly what I was looking for. I promise I wouldn't put something like on repeat like I've done in the past. Not on the stream, but on my own person. But I needed something with a little more teeth in it. Twitcher Alex says, anybody know what happened to Just Add Vodka? Was he here in the chat? Like, was he here today? He's been here the past few days. It's been really awesome. He checked in yesterday, was here a little while, the day before. Oh, goodness. Well, that is a shame, I see. You're right, because his name would have been in this leaderboard. He was here as of yesterday. Oh, I see you got a nice badge, by the way, Twitcher Alex, for having predicted something accurately. Well, I just mailed him a poem, so God forbid he goes off the grid for a while. I might toss a letter into that P.O. box. Very nice, you know, like he's a real genuine person. You know, after all the bit showering and everything like that. Not saying that the bit showering isn't genuine. It's just one of those things that you know, it's very refreshing to see in someone that is so generous publicly also such a genuineness. Like the generousness and genuineness going hand in hand. I'm checking my... Nope. I'm checking my messages. That's what I'm attempting to do, at least. See if he shows up in DMs. And I'm probably causing the whole thing to glitch. Well, he doesn't show up in DMs either. Like, he's out. Man, that's crazy. Yeah, so he doesn't show up in DMs either. Good observation. We will, and I mean, like, there's a lot, entire emoji sets have been dedicated to this man. So, we hope that we can find him in the future. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure what's going on. I'm sure that details will come to light over time. I can check something else. Well, I don't want to I'm not trying to do anything to dox him on stream, but what I can tell you is that his other social media is still out there. So it's not impossible to contact the man. And I'm sure that if he doesn't reappear suddenly after a little while, I might pop him a message to see how he's doing. Because I'm sure that for me, I know for the fact for me that I get attached to these communities. And it's not a bad thing to get attached. You develop a sense of placement. And you can be like Cosmic Kangaroo and you go out into the wilderness for a few weeks and you vacation. But to delete everything and to kind of leave it all might suggest something else is going on. But, because you don't know what people are dealing with. Anybody could be dealing with anything. And you just want to be empathetic. As best as you possibly can, if that's the place for you to be. Otherwise, it's, we have each other. So, back to the poem. That is true. He had a lot going for it. It was a lot of momentum. So, I guess the suspicion is that it's what does it mean to get unpersoned? Like, I've never heard that as a technical term before, Fool Killer. I'm curious to what you mean by that. Like, you mean that like somebody stole his identity, or that that Twitch decided that he didn't want them on, that they didn't want him on there. I need to switch up the music. We are almost done with this poem here, which is exciting. Now I'm not getting the song I want. No. Looking for something with a lot of drama tucked into the beat. This is what I'm talking about. Lots of drama tucked into the beat. Ah, I see. Mostly the term for in communist Russia, where they would get rid of someone and then retroactively erase their evidence of their existence. Well, what I was saying is that he definitely is on other social media platforms. You can do a quick search on some and you'll probably find him there. So I don't believe he's been unpersoned. Like effectively across all media, but it's possible that Twitch has decided to unperson him. Yeah. Just on Twitch. Mostly just a joking matter. Yeah, I would say he's all right. So, I want to thank everybody for being here today. I'm going to read this poem and then we'll see who's online and definitely raid somebody. I have alerts. What are my alerts? I keep skipping frames apparently. Let me exit this in the background. Okay, that might work better. Also, it would help if I plugged my computer in. What the heck? All right, computer's plugged in. This is, I stopped watching the news. Hopefully something close to a final version. It's not a happy poem, I'll warn that to start. Instead of calling my mother, I find myself sitting on Facebook, sucked into the dark void of the endless news feed with the rest of the world. I am searching for a light at the end of our 2020 tunnel, searching for a story that makes sense, the bottom of the web page. Where is Walter Cronkite when you need him? I search between my nightmares, but instead, when I close my eyes, talking heads of donkeys and elephants shatter my eyelids, debating the very ground I walk on. I listen in nightly silence after all the blue light disappears, my anxiety a seismograph seeking the tectonic tremors of each human heart. Instead of hearing soft, genuine footsteps, my head is split open by the pounding of wannabe titans. Everyone a pundit of power, black mirrors from pockets bending sunlight to burn mortality away, incinerating the only humanity we have left. I am praying for Walter Cronkite's return, messianic promise of bipartisan understanding, a return of truth, making sense of the party lines ruining my bedtimes. But he is dead, cold as the polished metal of our computer morgue towers. That was I Stopped Watching the News, a poem about media. I think I'm going to take out 2020 tunnel. Ooh, I got something that I could add there. But I hope you guys like that. This is very different than a lot of my other poetry. With a lot of the poetry, it just kind of riffs off. It's fun. The idea behind this is that this is a very polished poem. It's a very publishable poem. There are bits and pieces because this was a rewrite that obviously are going to need to be fixed, but my hope is that it is an enjoyable poem for people to read that doesn't necessarily make them happy, but helps them understand some of the tough reality happening. Kind of like that poem you suggested, Fool Killer, about being like the fly and contemplating death. Anyway, thank you all for being here. Who is online? Who is online? We have Disco is online. Let's check out Disco. I want to thank everybody for being here. Really appreciate it. If you ever want any of the poems that I do written in the hand copies, I can mail them. I'm also feel free to continue checking out the channel and the funny rewards we have. I will be back tomorrow morning, same bat time, same bat channel. So let's get a. I wonder if he's playing with his predictions. Prediction stuff. Thank you again, everybody, for being